I think it's easier for me to speak in English, so let me talk in English. So I want to get back with who is the community that we talk about. And I think it's a very valid issue. There's so many groups putting just not this event, but various events. And they come out and they say, we are for the community. They get their sponsorship. And they might be getting sponsorship from a mainstream corporation like Verizon and AT&T. And they keep saying it's for the community. I come from Newport Beach, and when people read about this in the newspaper, they said, what is going on with your community? So I have to tell them that this is a private group that do this. Not everybody is doing this, and I hope that as we are progressive, living in America, we need to have equal representation for everything. Not just LGBT, but race, religion, all of that, gender, sexuality, all of that. And it's just like, it's embarrassing for me to keep seeing this and have to explain to some of the people that does not know who is a community, because we don't try to represent each other. And you know, I'm going to make a comparison to the Jewish people. They're always backing each other. Why are they so strong? I mean, and we need to get to that point that when it comes to the Vietnamese American community here, we need to support as much as we can and try not to do all of these, you know, chụp mũ or whatever the term is. We need to allow people to voice everything that they need to voice, you know. We talk about human rights, we talk about democracy. When it comes down to it, we don't practice it in this community, not all of us. So, I mean, I'm just upset that I keep having to explain to non-Vietnamese Americans when they think that we have a community, but we don't. And a lot of the sponsor, the mainstream, you know, if they don't know, they don't read, and if they don't have a Vietnamese American representative in their company, they don't know these issues. And I can tell you that corporate America will not sign up and sponsor these kind of things if they find out. So that's my point.
Thank you for sharing. My personal view, I do wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying, because for me, I don't know what generation I am on, but 1.5. I think that whenever I open the newspaper, radio station, TV, and all kind of media out there, I get headache, because I don't know which group is which group. One day they're this, one day they're that. So they fight among ourselves. And they're not an open dialogue that so-called among the leader of these thousands of groups out there. And I think that maybe it's time, you know, we call the Vietnamese community. This is the time. Maybe this, because out of this, we call an open dialogue, you know. And if the LGBT be glad to be part of that dialogue, you know. And I'm calling all these leaders, open their heart, and practically what they're saying is that let the new generation take on this responsibility.
And just one more comment so that I don't sound like I'm ignorant. I know what war have done to all of us, whether your generation, A, B, C, D, 1.5, Vietnamese or non-Vietnamese. So I do understand the pain that people go through. But it's time that we do practice democracy properly if we really truly believe in equal representation of everything. Thank you.
There was the discussion among, you know, the news outlet and everything. There was, it seemed like you guys are focusing on the ban tổ chức, the organizer as the culprit and prevent you guys from participating. But there was discussion. There was a lot of pressure from other groups that they threatened to withdraw if you guys participated. Have you do any outreach to them? Have you do any open dialogue with them?
Yeah. From Mr. Nguoi, when we were meeting with him, that's what he said. Mm-hmm. So, and then he invited us to come back to on Wednesday night to approach these within the committee, which includes some other organization. And we coming back at night, he did not allow us to come in and look at through what was there. We look at the first among the committee with the representation of different organization. They surprised that we're there, and they want to hear, but Mr. Nguoi Viet blocked us, did not allow us to have the presentation or even outreach to them.
Also to remind folks of the 2010 incidences when the Interfaith Council also threatened to boycott with a long list of other businesses who said that they would boycott if the LGBTs were allowed. And as we remember, the result was we were allowed, and none of those groups boycotted in the end, except the Interfaith Council. And they did so, I believe they had boycotted for 3 years in a row. We have never asked anyone to boycott. And they are saying that we are trying to mess up the parade. The boycott is exactly what they want, in a way. They don't want us at the table. And we are a part of the community. And so boycotting doesn't make sense. It's not something we want. And we know that if this is a community event, we must be at the table. And so that has been our mission. We've never asked anyone to leave the parade.
What about you guys campaigning or lobbying at the Gandro School District? Some people say that some kind of asking the boycott the parade, and they decide to withdraw, officially today from jail.
Dạ. Cái đó không phải là một cái hành động để mà yêu cầu cái what do you call the school district? The school district để mà tẩy chay cái cuộc diễn hành này. Nhưng mà qua cái đó tụi cháu muốn yêu cầu hội đồng học khu Golden Grove sẽ làm áp lực với ban tổ chức để họ suy nghĩ lại và quyết định cho nhóm này được tham gia. Đó là cái mục đích tối hậu, là làm áp lực để được tham gia cùng với cộng đồng, chứ không phải là để tẩy chay mà gây cái sự khó khăn cho ban tổ chức.
Something to clarify with that, we never contacted Bao Nguyen to propose such an action. However, it does make sense from the school board's perspective. If they use public funding for an event that discriminates, that's against California law, period. And so, yes, we will support Bao retroactively, and we won't send that message to the younger generation of Vietnamese Americans using the school bus. And if we look at the situation, if we think of it, well, this is a private event. Is it private? Is it public? Because they're using the public school bus. So again, it goes back to the question: whose event is this? The community. Is it a public event? So now it's private. It's private sometimes and public sometimes. So again, we know that it's public. We know that it belongs to everyone.
Follow up to that one. Did you guys use this at the court yesterday? Because actually, you make a very good point that these organization, the community, sometimes use it as public, sometimes as private. Because the city council speaker one time, Nguoi Viet, he said that he represents 500,000 Vietnamese people in Southern California. That's for the record. And he went on, most of media in Vietnamese or even English, he always say that. He make people feel that, okay, we are public. But at the court, as I read from Ms. Hayang yesterday, the court said it's private. Did you guys make that point at the court?
We did, and...
But I would think that it would be up to folks like you who are more involved in the community to
No,
raise
we
that
know that.
question.
We know that, but
Yes,
we're not at the court.
Yeah,
But I think that it will be an opportunity for you all to raise that question to him individually on whether or not he actually represents the whole community.
But yes, to answer your question directly about our case, we did make that argument. However, the court ruled that, our documents will be public as well, exactly how it was in our, I don't know if Lon would like to.
Yeah, we did
follow.
make that argument
Okay.
that, because the city was intimately involved with the planning operation of the parade this year. The difference with the previous years was that they didn't pay for it. So the argument that as a practical matter, they were doing the same thing that they were doing in previous years in terms of systems. So that makes this involvement render the conduct of the organizing committee as the word of art is state activity. It's an exception to the rule where if you're considered as a state action because of your involvement of the government in the activity, and you have to comply with anti-discrimination laws. But the judge thinks that the judge doesn't believe that there was sufficient evidence.
To go back to your question is that Mr. Lee represents 500,000 Vietnamese in Little Saigon.
In Southern California.
Or Southern California. I am part of Southern California, and just 2 weeks ago I heard about Mr. Nguoi. And most of us here, the first time we heard Mr. Nguoi, and I don't know who voted for him or what is he doing. Even for me, I wouldn't even dare to say that I'm representing the whole LGBT in the whole state of California. So, you know, I mean, that's very courage of Mr. Nguoi, thick face, usual call. And I think that maybe this is the time that the Vietnamese community come in front of the office and ask him, who are you representing? You're not representing me. I did not vote for you. It's about time the Vietnamese community raised that question to Mr. Nguoi.
What's this guy's name?
And
Nguoi.
And to continue on that one too, not only he said that, but most of American politicians in this area recognize him as the one who represents the whole community. Because after election, they were invited to their offices, for official visit. No. I mean, yeah, that's the fact. So it makes people feel that, okay, yeah, he represents us. That's why, many elected officials, receive him.
So there's a concept called cultural broker in the American field of sociology and psychology, and that is in an attempt to understand an ethnic minority community. The non-ethnic minority community usually look into cultural broker for understanding of the community. Now, the term was born without understanding of who elected these cultural broker. Usually, the tendency for those who speak loudest, who has the most means of access to community, to self-select it as cultural broker. So we need to understand that process, and so perhaps he's a cultural broker, but he's not a Vietnamese leader in the sense that he recognized by every single Vietnamese in this community.
I want to bring you up the main issue today so we can solve the problem. And I'm going to talk on TV and on radio the issue. Probably, I say, I understood, probably, you make the build up the picture, you deal with the Vietnamese community. That's my beginning, I mentioned that. So I want to clear the issue. You fight with the organized, including Mr. Nguoi and Mr. Fulton, the guy, runs the organized for your race. And they don't let your guy be on the road, because that's your race. And your guy probably may fight because they use the public land. So I want to focus on that issue, what's going on in future. You keep going on and fight because they violation, the use of public land to avoid you on the parade. So by beginning, I'm staying, the hearing of the in the city, and I support for them. I love the Vietnamese to organize the parade, but lack of, the regulation, No one thinking about, they may ban your people, on the parade. That's the issue. So if you're talking about in future, in the hearing, your guys should follow up,
Well, actually, as a citizen of the Westminster City, I will be proceeding with asking the city manager on how they conduct business in signing a contract. Because the city is a government agency, and I want to know what clause is put in the contract. Because I work for the government, and I know every time a government agency make a contract with whatever entity, the non-discriminatory clause is always in the contract. So I will be personally proceeding to talk to the city manager.
Same Dr. Natalie, mentioned, why another group don't ring the voice, to what is wrong. It's not their business, I think that's your business. It's a fight with the small group. My view is small group between, those some people. It's not to present. One more time, I want you underline, it's not the Vietnamese community. When you talk, oh, community, so everybody thinks that. Now, same that this lady mentioned in Newport, they talk about the Vietnam and that because we have to stand up, and say it's not a Vietnamese community. That's a small group. It's a parade group. So the issue between the parade group and you. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, và một vấn đề cháu muốn nói là vấn đề này không chỉ ảnh hưởng riêng đến cộng đồng đồng tính, song tính và chuyển đổi giới tính, mà nó ảnh hưởng chung đến cả cộng đồng. Do đó nếu mà cộng đồng muốn có sự thay đổi thì cộng đồng chúng tôi yêu cầu chính những người quý vị và những người trong cộng đồng hãy lên tiếng với những người chính trị gia, những người mà quý vị bầu cho họ. Quý vị hãy cân nhắc vấn đề đó.
So you got to lobby about that. You got to hire time on radio, time TV, and newspaper. You do that. Follow up.